This is the life. Uh-huh. Ah. I could get into this.
This is Koroba.
Oh, yeah. Koroba. Yeah.
Okay, welcome to part one of slave positions. I've also found in BDSM that the same positions are also used, many of them. There's going to be some positions in here that aren't used very often, to say the least, and some that are used just about every minute. So basically, take and choose. Here's the thing that I said in another video, and I think still hold true. You don't know what master you're going to get. There's some masters around that read all the books, who know all the damn positions, are going to use them so everybody knows that he knows his shit. Um, there's going to be other positions that are in the books that I'm going to tell you about that nobody uses. And it's harder than hell to get that position, so don't worry about it. At least you can emote them. If you can do them, emote them. There's one in particular coming up that you can emote through, but I don't know how in the world you're going to get the position as a position. So basically, we're just trying to teach you so you know where they exist. I have a landmark I'm going to put with this video at the bottom in comments that will allow you to go and get these. It's on Nicus in the back, all the way to the back. There's an office with the green walls, an animal head at the top. You can't miss those green walls. You come off the port, you go right, go all the way to the back, go slightly left where some businesses are, right past the blacksmith, right past the and on the same row as the wine tavern. You'll see a bright green room with an animal's head above it. There's a box on the ground. If you pop that open and go into contents, you'll find, God, 16, 17 positions that are there for free. Other things will be put in there with time, but for now, let's get going. The idea is to give you the positions expected of a slave in Gor. Like I said, some of the verbal commands. Some of these you're going to hear, some of you won't. My job, at least I see my job, is to train you on what's in the book and to give you the positions if you want them. But again, you may never run across any of these. A lot of masters these days don't read the book. So let's go through this. Quote, I fell upon my belly awaiting his command. I looked up terrified, afraid he might strike me with the whip. I lay there for a long moment. He did not strike me. The crowd was amused at my terror. You will be prompt, obedient, and beautiful, said the auctioneer to me softly. Yes, master, I said. Then suddenly, snapping the whip, he said harshly, on your back, one knee lifted, the other leg extended, hands over your head, wrists closed. And as though confined in slave bracelets, I complied. Then he began to put rapidly through the paces of the exhibited female slave. He held me in each position for a sweet instant that revealed me tantalizingly in that attitude or position, and then barked a new command to not to an accent. Each move followed easily, sometimes by a roll or a turn from the preceding position. Smooth rhythm and flow, calculating and sensually meticulous, melodious, characterizing the performance humiliatingly inflicted upon me. I must submit to the choreography of the slave display. I, who had been Judy Thornton, a girl of earth, was put through Gorian slave paces. Then I lay on my belly at his feet. As I'd begun, I was trembling. I was covered with sweat. My hair was loose about my head and eyes. I felt the auctioneer's foot against my body. I put my head to the block. Slave of Gord, Book 11. Now, something about this page number. The German books are slightly different than the European. The Europeans are slightly different than the Americans. So I'll tell you what book they are. The page number becomes problematic. especially if you have a copy from Second Life. I've tried that. I go in, I flip, I find it, but it'd be like 100 pages up because the pages are smaller. So you're going to find them in Slave Girl of Gore, Book 11. But the page number, maybe not, but it's going to be in there. So I just wanted to say that, and that's true of all my tapes. It's a problem. Okay, next one. Position, I snapped. Swiftly she knelt again as she had been commanded earlier. You obey with the atrocity of a slave girl. I observed if I did not, I could be punished as one. Okay, could I not? Yes, I said, and would be. I walked about her, examining her. She kept her back very straight, her head up. I was then I was then again before her, and I noted that the palms of her hands, so soft, so vulnerable, had turned on her thigh and faced up. Among slave girls, this is a common way of signaling need, helplessness, a desire to please. Vagabonds of Gore. So the palms up, and I've seen this in BDS too. Palms up very, very much mean I'm open to you sexually or otherwise. Okay, palms down, not so much. So let's deal with the palms down. Tower. Go ahead and go in the tower, please. Okay, legs are closed, palms up. Tower is a white silk position. It's also used when, for instance, a scribe slave or a physician slave, that is a slave who's a servant in a position, um, and if there's a woman in the room, let's say it's a bunch of men and one woman, you're going to do tower for the woman out of respect for the free woman. I say a woman, but basically I'm talking a free woman, not just any woman. Quote, the position of a tower slave in which Vika knelt differs from that of a free woman only in the position of the wrists, which are held before her, and when not occupied, crossed as though for binding. The position of a pleasure slave, incidentally, differs from the position of both the free woman and the tower slave. The hands of a pleasure slave normally rest on her thighs, but in some cities, like Thesis, I believe they cross behind her. More significantly, for the free woman's hands may rest on her thighs, there's a difference in the placement of the knees. In all of these kneeling positions, incidentally, even that of a pleasure slave, the Gorian woman carries herself well. Her back is straight, her chin is high, she tends to be virile and beautiful to look upon. Priest geeks of Gore. Okay. Basically, in this one, you're covering your slave heat from view. You're not serving sexually. And that is the major difference between the two. Position of the tower slave, I said, which she immediately assumed. Back straight, knees together, waist. Lift your head, I said, the tower position. The head may be either bowed or raised. When in doubt, the slave bows her head. Adventures of Gore, book 36. By the way, I've seen a lot of girls do the bowed head. It does vary, but it can be either one, depending on your master. Now, in most of these positions, many of these positions, you'll moat them before you do them. And by the way, if you don't have the position, you'll moat them. You just emote what you're doing. You don't have it, no problem. Not every girl's going to have a complete collection of kneeling positions. I happen to give girls the positions. That's why the girl in front of you has them, all but about 3 of them. But not every girl has these. So always know the emotes, keep track of that and learn that. And if you don't have it, just emote it out and then move on. Normally, if you have the position, you'll emote first, then do the position. That's the proper way. But I'll be honest, I haven't seen anybody in Gore do it that way. So just push the button, do the position. And if you don't have it, emote away. Okay, we've already done that. Nadu. Now, Nadu is known as the pleasure slave position. I've seen this position in BDSM Sims and in Gore. It's normally taken by the red silk slaves. In this position, slaves' hands it's in a subtle way, let the free know when you're moved. Your palms are up. You show you won't be pleasing in any way. Although it mainly means sexual pleasure, but not always. basically simply being that the virgins would assume this position. Mm. Nadu, he snapped. She swiftly turned and faced him and dropped to her knees. She knelt back on her knees, her back straight, her hands on her thighs, her head up, her knees wide. It was the position of the pleasure slave, explorers of Gor. How do you emote Nadu? Quote, spread your legs wide, put your hands on your thighs, palms up or down, your choice. Palms up, you're offering sexual service. Palms down, no. Bound by the master's will. This becomes interesting. Uh, I've seen this done in BDSM also. Basically, it's what they call mind fucking or mind control. It means to be bound by nothing other than the will of a master. No thighs, no ropes, no chains, no other bindings, but you're bound. And you put a slave in a position where she basically feels bound, but she has nothing on her. So let me show you the quotes. Your hands are now bound behind your back, he said. Yes, master. I said I must now keep my hands or wrists in contact with one another and behind my back. I was now bound by the master's will. I could not separate my hands or wrists from one another without permission. Dancers of Gor. Mm, no. A little thing to remember. If your wrists are crossed, excluding tower, this is a form of bound by the master's will. Do not break this position until commanded. She wore the bonds of the master's will. Grunt had put her in them. She could not rise to her feet. There were no ropes or strap on her body. She was bound by the master's will. Unless at the word of a free person would free her from it. To break this position otherwise is to be instantly slain. Brothers of Gor. Now, lucky for most of you girls, not many masters do the kill the girl as she moves, but the point is, that's what the book says. Hmm. All right. The following are considered bound. The four positions are that are bound to the master's will. Bracelets, submit, kneel to the whip, bara. Put in those positions, you're not to move till told. So I'll be honest, most positions that's true. But in these four positions, if you break out before you're supposed to, it's a death penalty by the book. So let's deal with the four positions. There.
You don't want
Okay.
submit?
Yes.
Okay.
She is yours, he said. I took the strap off her throat and bound her hands. Submit, I told her. She knelt before me, back on her knees. See how she's back on her knees? Head down between her arms, wrists crossed as though for binding. I submit to you, master, she said. I tied her hands together, and then she lowered her bound wrist. I pulled up her head I held. Can you read? I asked her. No, master. She she said, it says I am the girl Tharo of Thesis. Then I colored. Next quote, I can force you to take me, she said. How? I asked. Like this. She responded, kneeling before me, lowering her head and lifting her arms, the wrist crossed. She laughed. Now you must take me with you, or slay me. I cursed her, for she took an unfair advantage of the warrior code of Dwar. Mm. So, next one will be bracelets. And let's go to bracelets. Yay, she got it. Some days these positions don't work quite like we want them to, but that's okay. Now, braces can be done while kneeling or standing by placing your wrist behind you. This position is another example of bound by the master's will. She doesn't have ropes or anything on her, but her hands in a position like she is. Bracelets, I said in Gorian harshly. She snapped to position, hands behind her back, head lifted, chin up. Turned to the left in a position she may be currently that it may be conveniently put in braces and leashed. So she's ready essentially to be put in handcuffs or whatever you have, and then leashed. How to emote bracelets. Again, if you don't have the positions, you can emote them because not everybody has the set. Let me show you the emote for this. Wrist crossed behind you, head up, turn to the left, remaining whatever position you're in. That's the emote for bracelets. That way your master will know you're where you're supposed. Sula. Sula is the next one. It means back. Okay, I need to change the screen so you can see her. Bring everything up. I'm going to reveal. There. Okay, she went flat. Sula there means back in Gorian. Let me show you what it looks like. Because the slave lays on her back, spreads her legs wide open, palms facing straight up. It is often used when a Gorian master wishes to take sexual pleasure with the slave. So he basically commands her to go Sula. And she's ready to be used. Or at least knows what direction she's going. Okay, I am. Got it. Give me a second. There it is. So I'll show you this. Right there, and I hope it works right. Lay down. Lay down upon it, I told her, on your back, your head to the floor. She did so. No, please, she said, not like this. It's a common position for disciplinary slave rape. And the woman feels vulnerable, very helpless, legs spread. She's pretty much ready for the guy. Sultra, Sugala, Kaiser, said the man. Kajira, said the man. She slid her legs from under her, laid on her back, the hands by her sides, palms up, her legs open. She's ready. So, when emoting, lay on your back, arms to the side, palms on your side, legs open, displaying your heat is the emote for that. Now, we're now going to discuss, first of all, let me say this is the end of part one. We're going to now discuss, stand up, please, Shawnee. Stand up, Shawnee. That's the end of part one. This is going to be a two-part series. I try and keep all my tapes within 15 or 20 minutes. I know that's a long time, especially when there's a lot of material. Please consider going to part two. We're going to start the obeisance positions. My girls do that every morning when they first meet me. But there's 4 of them possible. So when you come back, that's what we're going to work on, and I hope you have a great day.
That's all, folks.